Good Friday morning. I'm Janae Norman.
And I'm Kenneth Moten. Here are the top 5 things to know this Friday. Number 1, former movie mogul Harvey Weinstein has reached a tentative deal with his alleged victims.
It would settle many of the sexual misconduct charges against him. The proposed $44 million settlement includes money for Weinstein's alleged victims and the cost of legal fees. It would be covered by insurance policies.
Number 2, for the 5th consecutive day, violent storms are battering the heartland. At least 7 people have been killed, and now the region is coping with historic floods.
More than a dozen tornadoes and funnel clouds barreled across the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles overnight. So far, at least 2 homes are destroyed and power lines are down across the area. In Jefferson City, Missouri, residents are trying to pick up the pieces after a twister packing winds of up to 160 miles an hour ripped roofs off homes like you see there and sent dozens of people to shelters.
One mother in Jefferson City rode out the storm in her bathtub holding her 4-day-old baby who slept through it all. Another woman says her family had to race for cover as their house fell down around them.
Within 2 seconds, the side of my house was gone. So I started waking people up saying, come on, get up, we're being hit. We were being hit with bricks, the roof. It was a terrifying moment for me. Like, scared. I was really scared. I'm still scared.
In Oklahoma, evacuations are underway along the Arkansas River. It's expected to rise to record levels from Tulsa to Fort Smith, Arkansas. More than 1,000 homes have been damaged.
On to number 3, what's being called a major escalation in Washington. President Trump has ordered the intelligence community to fully cooperate with Attorney General William Barr as he looks into the origins of the Russia investigation.
He's given Barr sweeping authority to declassify documents. He claims agents may have spied on his Trump campaign before the 2016 election.
Number 4 now, the Toronto Raptors, one step closer to making the NBA Finals, an international event for the first time.
The Raptors picked up a road win in Milwaukee last night, 105-99. Kawhi Leonard scored 35 points.
Toronto can close out the series in Canada, where the Raptors will be cheered on by thousands, including one superfan, rapper, and Toronto native, the Drizzy Drake. He says the city is ready.
We are like a college sports team. The Toronto Raptors are a college sports team, I promise you. I love Toronto. I love this team, and we're going to the NBA Finals.
Drake pumped up there. Game 6 tomorrow night.
He's a rapping raptor.
Yeah.
And finally, number 5, the holiday weekend is almost here, and if you're looking to soak up the sun with your new boyfriend or girlfriend, you may want to hold off.
A new survey finds new couples should wait 7 months before taking their first vacation together.
The survey found about 20% of couples who took a trip earlier than that ended up separating when they got home.
Yeah, so much to talk about.
Including whether or not we should have taken that trip when we first became co-anchors together. Probably not, because we would have separated by now. It's Morning America. Good morning, happy Friday. That's our question of the day. Would you wait 7 months before taking a trip as a couple? How long would you wait? Tell us in the comments section or tweet us at ABC News Live. You and your hubby, now hubby, you guys took a trip pretty early on.
We did. It was about 2.5 months in. And
2.5 months?
And we went to a whole new continent. I had a bunch of people who were like, are you sure? Is this safe?
He could have kidnapped you.
I know. And I said, well, we'll find out.
It worked out.
Sure did.
All right, so let's get to that breaking news involving Harvey Weinstein, the former movie mogul accused of sexual misconduct by several women.
Weinstein has agreed to a deal that will settle lawsuits filed by his alleged victims, but the settlement may not be the end to the Harvey Weinstein saga, which has inspired a movement and led to the downfall of dozens of powerful men in the entertainment industry. This morning, a possible deal in the case that helped launch the Me Too movement. ABC News has learned movie producer Harvey Weinstein has agreed to a $44 million settlement deal with the women who accuse him of sexual misconduct. If finalized, the deal would resolve lawsuits filed by board members of his former film studio, as well as the New York Attorney General's office. The settlement would provide $30 million to the alleged victims and $14 million to pay legal fees, with those funds coming from insurance policies. Weinstein, through his company Miramax, was one of the most powerful executives in Hollywood.
Any comment, Harvey?
His downfall came after more than 80 women accused him of sexual misconduct dating back decades. Weinstein is still facing a criminal case in Manhattan where he's been charged with rape and other sex crimes. He's long denied any non-consensual sexual encounters, and his defense team remains defiant.
Mr. Weinstein did not invent the casting couch in Hollywood, and to the extent that there is bad behavior in that industry, that is not what this is about. Bad behavior is not on trial in this case.
But prosecutors say Weinstein used his power to lure young women, hoping to make it big in Hollywood.
The charges here today are a result of months of investigation. That investigation revealed that this defendant used his position, money, and power to lure young women into situations where he was able to violate them sexually.
And the trial in that case is scheduled to begin in September. Well, now to the big story. In Washington, President Trump has ordered the intelligence community to cooperate with Attorney General William Barr's review of the Russia investigation and claims that agents spied on the Trump campaign in 2016.
This all comes as the president and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi exchange a new round of attacks, the president calling Pelosi crazy while declaring himself an extremely stable genius. ABC's Mona Kosar Abdi has the latest from Washington. Good morning, Mona.
Good morning, Kenneth. Good morning, Janae. It's no secret that President Trump and Speaker Pelosi have never been on good terms, and the last 24 hours appears to have sent their relationship plummeting to new lows.
Over the last 24 hours, the nation's top leaders caught in a game of he said, she said that has now turned personal. It all started Wednesday when the president stormed out of an infrastructure meeting with Democratic leaders after he heard House Speaker Nancy Pelosi accuse him of engaging in a cover-up ahead of the event.
The president again stormed out. I think, first pound the table, walk out the door. Another temper tantrum.
She said I walked into the room right next door yesterday and walked in and started screaming and yelling. Just the opposite. Just the opposite. She's a mess. Look,
the president even calling on his aides one by one to back up his claim that he had been totally calm.
Kellyanne, what was my temperament yesterday?
Very calm, no temper tantrum.
Pelosi called the move a stunt to distract from the Mueller report.
But I think what really got to him was these court cases.
President Trump says he will not work with Democrats until they stop investigating him. He also accused the speaker of, quote, losing it, claiming she doesn't understand the issues.
I'm an extremely stable genius. Okay.
Meanwhile, breaking overnight, word the president has sent a memo ordering the intelligence community to, quote, quickly and fully cooperate with his attorney general's review of the origins of the Russia probe. Overnight, Trump tweeted, quote, intelligence agencies were used against an American president. House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler responding, calling it nonsense on MSNBC's Rachel Maddow show.
And what they're really trying to do is to divert attention from the Mueller report and from the president's actions against the rule of law to an imaginary scandal.
And President Trump has long accused the Obama-era FBI of treason and claims they spied on his 2016 campaign. Last month, Attorney General William Barr testified before Congress that he believes spying did occur, sparking outrage from Democrats who accused Barr of acting as the president's personal attorney. Janae, Kenneth?
All right, so much coming to a head as the president is heading for a state visit in Japan. Mona, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
A new crackdown at Facebook. The company says it has shut down more than 3 billion fake accounts over a 6-month period, double the amount compared to the same time last year. Facebook says nearly all the accounts were caught by artificial intelligence and by more human monitoring.
And there are also new legal problems for WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. He's been charged by the U.S. with violating the Espionage Act by publishing secret documents containing the names of confidential military and diplomatic sources. Assange is now serving a 55-day sentence in Britain for jumping bail, and he's also fighting extradition to the U.S., where he's already facing a hacking charge brought by federal prosecutors. The new charges immediately raised concerns among new media advocates who claim they could threaten press freedoms. An intruder in Massachusetts is being credited with making a very, very clean getaway.
Nate Roman says he got back to his home in Marlboro last week and discovered he'd been the victim of the break-in, but there was nothing missing except dirt and dust. The intruder cleaned the place, literally scrubbed it down and left it spotless and left Roman speechless.
But they scrubbed everything down, did the shower, Did the toilets. These toilet paper roses were left on my toilet paper rolls.
Savages. How dare they? How dare they? Roman says every room was cleaned except for the kitchen. He thinks the culprit may be someone from a cleaning service who went to the wrong house. He left a door unlocked. Police, they don't have any suspects.
Maybe someone could. I would appreciate this. SpaceX has sent its first batch of Starlink satellites into orbit. The Falcon 9 rocket, you see there, lifted off on schedule last night from Cape Canaveral. 60 satellites have been deployed. Starlink is expected to provide high-speed, limited delay internet around the world. The system is expected to eventually include more than 12,000 satellites.
Pretty cool. And an elephant seal invasion has returned to this California beach. Around 200 seals came ashore on Tuesday, prompting authorities to close Drake's Beach north of San Francisco. Officials say it's unusual for the seals to hang out in busy areas like this one. Elephant seals also forced the closure of the beach as recently as January during pupping season.
Coming up, a little boy's fear of frogs is put to the test.
We'll see how this goes.
You don't want to miss this.
It was pretty jumping funny.
Now to the tragic death of a college student in Oregon.
Authorities say the 21-year-old fell while taking a picture on the side of a mountain. It's the latest in a string of deaths involving people trying to snap the perfect photo. This morning, the picturesque Oregon coast, now the scene of a tragic death.
My friend, she slipped, she fell.
Authorities say Michelle Casey, a sophomore at Oregon State University, was taking pictures of the coastline outside Portland when she lost her balance. Casey's boyfriend, who was with her at the time, says she fell 100 feet into a tree, which prevented her from falling into the Pacific Ocean.
It's a very steep area. As you can imagine, it's a pretty steep rock cliff, and that's why they needed to have the rope team to come in and take them up. Took a couple hours to get her up from where she was.
In a statement, Casey's family says she loved the outdoors, adding she died at her favorite place.
It's very scenic. We do get a lot of visitors, especially on the weekend. We have, over the years, had an occasional person or two that fell and either were injured or wound up in the ocean, and some have been found and some haven't.
This is just one in a string of recent deaths involving people trying to take the perfect picture. Earlier this year, a man fell to his death in the Grand Canyon while snapping photos. A student at Fordham University fell to her death while climbing the school's bell tower to take pictures of the New York skyline. But a teenager in Texas miraculously survived after falling 50 feet off a bridge trying to take a selfie. The problem getting so bad, many parks are now posting signs warning people about the danger. In Yellowstone National Park, visitors are now being asked to take a pledge to, quote, practice safe selfies. And get this, one study says more than 250 people have died in recent years while taking selfies. Well, let's go across the pond now to Joe Simonetti in the London Bureau, who's been watching the biggest elections in the world over the past month. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, good morning, Kenneth. Yeah, big election, actually, and big win for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who found out yesterday afternoon that he was the winner. He now has won a second term in office. It's a 5-year term. Get a load of these numbers, though, guys. 600 million people voted over 6 weeks. And it took, obviously, just a few days to count the votes and count the election results. President Trump tweeted yesterday his congratulations to Modi, saying he looks forward to continuing working with the Prime Minister, adding that great things are in store for the U.S.-India partnership. India, of course, being a big strategic partner in the region for the United States. So a bit of breaking news out of London this morning. British Prime Minister Theresa May just announced that she'll be stepping down on June 7th, resigning her post as the leader of the Conservative Party. In effect, that means she'll remain in office until the Conservative Party can find a new leader to replace her. That'll take a couple of weeks, probably maybe until July. She will be around in office when President Trump visits here the first week of June. She got a little emotional towards the end of her speech, saying it was an honor to serve her country as the second female prime minister of Great Britain. But for now, British Prime Minister Theresa May will be leaving office June 7th.
And so, Joe, on a much lighter note, as interesting as that was, so Uber is trying something new. You can now get an Uber to take you underwater in Australia.
Yeah, it's called SCUBER, Janae. I mean, it rhymes with Uber, obviously, so it's easy to remember. Yeah, you get on your phone, you get on the app. you book a trip. And it costs $2,000. It takes you underwater. It takes you to the Great Barrier Reef, which we all know is under threat from global warming. The sea temperature is obviously rising, so there's been a bit of a lot of coral bleaching. They're hoping that tourists will get a chance to see this up close and maybe make some change. Anyway, it sounds like a cool trip. I'd love to be able to book a trip and go there myself and see it. It starts next week. It's for 1 month though, so it's you've only got a month to take advantage of this. But I think it's worth
fascinating.
Spending.
Down under and under the sea.
There
Joe,
you go.
thank you
Of course.
so much
I wish I
for
had thought of that
joining
myself,
us.
actually. You're welcome, Janae. Guys, have a nice weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
And now let's get a check of our notifications, starting with a little boy, a frog, a tear,
and a lot of tears.
Yes. Okay, so watch this. There's a little frog on his arm. He doesn't understand.
Mom's about to make it a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my God.
And we must see it again. Wait for it.
Yeah.
Wait for it. Get it off me. Get it off me. Get it off me. It's not so bad. Okay, maybe it's not so bad. And then, oh no, it's real bad. It's real bad. Tormenting
the
the
way
kids.
his scream goes up a notch.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That's how I scream when frogs jump on me too.
Yeah.
All right, so what about this? The world's smallest McDonald's has opened, but don't be in a rush to get a Big Mac here unless you're a bee. Are they serving Big Macs in that McRibs, a honey McRib?
I'll tell you what they're not serving.
What?
Ice cream, because the machine is broken.
Ah.
Yep.
Why is the machine always down?
Always.
These bees are buzzing to find out.
There may be bugs in some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Quite a bit of fashion was on display on the red carpet in Cannes.
The glitterati were out in full force last night at that Amphar Gala, and of course they were dripping in blang.
Drip, drip, except maybe for Rita Ora.
Oh, a woman carrying about $4 million worth of jewels, specifically for the singer to wear at Cannes, left them on the plane.
She had them tucked into her carry-on luggage, which she left on the plane, and by the time she realized her mistake, the plane had already taken off for the return flight back to London.
But don't worry, the jewelry is safe and sound. No word on whether that courier still has a job.
And Tom Hanks got quite a surprise from a pretty big Toy Story fan.
Hanks, who voices Woody, of course, in the film franchise, got up close and personal with one fan's Woody tattoo.
Take a look. Hanks shared this selfie with the catchphrase caption, "Well, howdy, partner." Toy Story 4 set to hit theaters June 21st. And of course, Disney is the parent company of ABC News.
Well, coming up, we're saluting the class of 2019.
And we'll hear words of wisdom from notable graduation speakers from around the country after this. So here's what to watch out for today. Jake Patterson will be sentenced for the kidnapping of 13-year-old Jamie Kloss and the murder of her parents. Kloss was held captive by Patterson for nearly 3 months in a cabin in Wisconsin before escaping in January.
Celebrity chef Mario Batali due in Boston court and expected to be arraigned on an indecent assault charge stemming from an alleged 2017 incident with a woman in a restaurant. It's the first criminal charge against Batali since he has been accused by multiple women of sexual misconduct. Plus, don't forget to tune into The Debrief for an update on all of our top stories in the briefing room for a breakdown of the latest headlines in politics.
So millions of graduates are hearing those familiar strains of pomp and circumstance as they close an important chapter in their lives.
But that's not all they're hearing at their commencement addresses, as we're hearing this morning from our own Will Gans.
For the graduating class of 2019, a star-studded list of commencement speakers offering some advice. From athletes.
So, what I have for you today is 4 lessons that I've learned about following your dreams.
To actors.
Don't use a fake ID to buy wine and then try to pay with a check.
From politicians.
We believe in you.
To musicians.
I didn't do well in English. I always refer to it as my second language.
Superstars coming back to campus to share their words of wisdom. Apple CEO Tim Cook urging young people to continue their search for the next game changer.
Don't make the mistake of being too cautious. Don't assume that by staying put, the ground won't move beneath your feet. The status quo simply won't last.
Kristen Bell poking fun at USC while giving her speech there.
Being nice sometimes means avoiding the obvious joke. I am choosing not to reference Aunt Becky in any way, shape, or form.
And at Colorado College, Oprah also making a few jokes before driving home her point.
Whatever you imagine my life to be like, I wonder what Oprah's doing right now. It's always 10 times better than whatever you think. You have to pay attention to your life because it is speaking to you all the time. And the bumps in the road and the failures that pointed me in a new direction and led me to a path made clear. That is what I'm wishing for you today, your own path made clear.
And finally, Jennifer Garner offering some simple yet incredibly practical advice to the graduating class at Denison University.
Don't smoke and don't vape. And I'm going to say this because everyone says it, but you won't listen because nobody does. Nothing looks better in your 50s than sunscreen in your 20s. I know. Neutrogena. When it comes to Halloween costumes, go funny over sexy. Why would you dress like a flirty nurse when you could be a mailbox? Mixed signals are not mixed signals, they're a no.
That's
Love
some
that.
good tips, good advice.
Oprah.
Oprah's like, if you're just wondering what I'm doing, just know that it's 10 times better.
That means
And I knew it.
Right?
But the thing
We'll
is,
never know how
I
well
thought it was 10 times better. So does that mean it's 20 times better?
Probably, and I totally believe her. What do you think Oprah's doing right now? She's sleeping, but it's probably so good
It's like
sleep.
the good Lunesta sleep that you see on the
Lunesta
commercial.
sleep. She is sleeping on a cloud.
Right now.
Yep.
What's your advice to the class of 2019?
Learn to say no.
My advice is don't take no for an answer when it comes to employment.
He wants to couch that.
Yes.
Couch that.
It's 2019.
It's good.
They know.
Yes. Yep. That's all from us. Enjoy your holiday weekend. Get out and enjoy the weather.
Enjoy your family. Also take time to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice and
Thank
fought
you,
for
everyone,
this
for the
country.
service.
Happy Memorial Day weekend.